Welcome to the K20 Center's Zoom Into Your Career video series. These online career expos give students a way to explore many interesting careers and learn about their career options from volunteer professionals. Lieutenant Rod Sanders has been a police officer with the University of Oklahoma Police Department since 2003. Lieutenant Sanders is the SWAT Commander for OUPD and serves as a Crisis Negotiator. Lieutenant Sanders is an active member of many community groups as well.
Like Alex said, I'm Lieutenant Rod Sanders. I'm a lieutenant with the University of Oklahoma Police Department. I'm currently assigned to day shift patrol. Prior to coming to day shift, I spent 4.5 years as a criminal investigator, lieutenant in investigations. So July, I was sent back to patrol. What my day usually consists of is giving a daily briefing to my officers to give out any pertinent information that happened from the night before and any pertinent information that they may need during our shift. Working at the university, we have a lot of special events that could occur on our property, such as protests, and we have to ensure that the officers know about the protests, have every intel that they need, so that we can keep everybody safe. After briefing, I assign my officers, we don't have take-home cars, so I assign my officers their vehicles for the day and a district that they're going to work. Once the vehicles have been signed, my officers, including myself, we do what we call is outfitting the vehicles. And what that includes is just checking out the vehicles, making sure that there aren't any unreported damage, making sure that they run properly, making sure that the lights and sirens work for the shift that day. After we've done that, we have to load it out with our active shooter gear and our long rifles and our patrol bags. Basically, my job from then on is to supervise the shift. I monitor the radio, make sure that any calls that my officers are responding to, that they're handling it appropriately, making sure that they're safe. It's also my duty to take any reports that the officers bring in. I have to look at them if they're making any arrests or take any written reports. It's my job to supervise that and look over those, make sure that there aren't any mistakes made. I'm more than just I'm more of a hands-on type supervisor. I don't just stay in my office. I also get out in my car and I patrol as well, make patrol stops. I also make arrests and response to calls of service along with my officers. In addition to being a patrol lieutenant, like Alex said, I'm also the SWAT Commander for OUPD. We serve on a joint team with the Norman Police Department here. Does anybody know what SWAT stands for? Stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. And we are activated to carry out high-risk operations that would normally be outside of the scope that regular police departments can't handle. We train a lot to be able to do this, at least twice a month that we do. We are activated for situations like active shooters, barricaded suspects, hostage rescue scenarios, counterterrorism scenarios, riot control, and we also serve high-risk arrest warrants and searches. In most SWAT teams, there are several different elements to a team. What I mean by elements to the team is kind of like an offense or a defense to a football team or a basketball team. Our team, we have 4 elements. We have the entry team, we have snipers, we have medics, and we have crisis negotiators. The negotiators call the entry team guys knuckle draggers because they're like cavemen. They just like to tear stuff up. And they get to do that. They have special tools that they can go in and break windows, break doors to gain entry to wherever they need to be. Our snipers are trained distant rifle shooters. When we get a call out, the snipers are usually deployed to wherever we're going, probably an hour to 2 hours before we get there, so they can keep an eye on what's going on with their scopes and let us know what we need to know before we arrive. Our entry team, or our knuckle draggers, are the officers who form the line And they go in first with rifles and protective has shields to handle the situations. Our medics, they are unarmed. They're medical paramedics, and they train with the knuckle draggers because they're on the line with them, and they have to know how to keep themselves safe. But they're on the line to keep the entry team and any hostages or even suspects. They tend to them if they're injured, so they have to be on the line. The negotiators, we usually work out of the back of our SWAT truck, and we usually use OUPDs. We have very expensive equipment that we use to communicate with suspects or hostage takers. And I'll show you that here in a minute if I get my slideshow to work. The knuckle draggers, they're the ones that deliver our phones for us. And they'll do that, and they'll hold the line while we are negotiating with the suspect, trying to get the situation diffused. All the elements of the team, while we're doing that, we're in constant radio communication, and they hold the line and they get their cues from us. I am proud to say that the Joint Norman OUPD SWAT team has never had to fire a round during a call out. We've always been able to successfully diffuse any situation without any violence, other than knuckle draggers breaking windows and doors and whatever else they like to destroy. Right now, I'm just kind of hanging out right now. My guys are on patrol, and while I'm here, I do have a radio next to me listening in. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask.
Right. Rod, did you want to try and see if you can share that PowerPoint screen?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Okay.
So this is just a little illustration to show you that we are a joint team from both jurisdictions. Both Norman PD and OUPD have SWAT trucks. This is the truck that the Norman patrol officers or the knuckle draggers, they ride in at. It's pretty inconspicuous, a big white truck. That's the same as ours. We do have lights and sirens on these trucks if we need to respond quickly. Most of the time, we're doing warrant services, high-risk warrant services. So we respond at night, and we want to be inconspicuous. We don't want anybody to know who we are when we're coming. These are our knuckle draggers. These are the front line, and our medic teams, they're responding. These guys here on actual call, and they're holding the line right there, waiting to hear back from us, whether or not they need to respond or get in their cues from us, whether or not we have the suspect coming out. They ride in that truck. Like I said, this is our truck. This is what we work out of. And this is the back of it. These are our notes. I don't know if you can see this over here. This is our console. This is called a rescue phone. And this is what we use. This is a slide from actual call. We have several different negotiators that work at a time. And we all have different roles at the time. This guy right here is the one doing the talking. You see, he has a headset. He's the active negotiator on that call. This guy here is a coach. He's also helping the negotiator out because there's times that he can't remember anything that is going on. So he'll take notes and he'll be sure to pass them on to the negotiator that's doing the talking. This negotiator is our recorder. He is writing notes up here too to pass on to the coach so he can pass it to the speaker. This is our rescue phone. This is the console that we use. This stays in the truck with us while we're talking to the suspect. Before I tell you that the knuckle draggers takes the phone to the suspect, this is what they take to them. This is a phone in a case. They throw that out to them. We've got 150 feet of cable here, so we can extend that a good distance from our truck. And like I said, we do a lot of training at least twice a month so that we can keep our skills up, because if we don't do that, we'll slip up. So that is all I have for that.
We did get one question that came in already, and it's about OU's clear bag policy for campus. So if students are coming on campus or people are coming on campus for some type of event, what do they need to know about the clear bag policy and kind of how that works? Do you know?
Well, that's kind of an athletic department thing, and that's usually where that's put into place. I don't know the size of the bag, but they want to have clear bags because of because of the bombing that we had a few years back, and so that's to keep everybody safe. So
Perfect.
in their bag, we're making sure that they're not bringing in anything that they don't need to bring in.
Yeah. So if you don't really need to bring something in, don't just keep your stuff in your car, or otherwise, probably their website has the information for
Correct.
like what size the bags. All right. Wants to know what level of education is needed after high school for you to pursue a career in this field?
Well, it depends. It used to be 60 credits for certain police departments, and I think that we have kind of gone down to where we're not really looking for any college credits anymore. We're just trying to get quality people in. So.
And then you guys do your additional training and everything while they're there. So
we do training, yes.
So I guess kind of follow up with that. My question would be, how long does it take for you to have certain training to get to like where you are, to even start in the department and then to like elevate yourself to different positions?
Well, going through the hiring process, that's usually like a 6-month process. And it's pretty extensive because we have to make sure that we're hiring the right kind of people. You go through, well, it's an extensive background check, and it's also a psychological test that you'll have to go through, drug testing, things of that nature. Generally, before here, anyway, at the Department of OUPD, you have to be here about 5 years before you start doing any, well, I'd say 3 years before you start doing any specialty type of law enforcement. But you're clear to do pretty much explore any law enforcement that you like.
Awesome. And then also, do you have any special background with like communication or psychology with your position as being a negotiator, or is that something you've learned from being in the force?
Prior to becoming a police officer, I worked for 6 years with Department of Mental Health. And so I worked at a group home with at-risk boys for a long time. And I think a lot of that experience helped me do what I do right now. But I also have continued to go to training here for this specific type of enforcement that I do on the SWAT team.
Awesome. All right. We have another question here from, they would like to know, do you ever get scared when you're on duty?
I get nervous. It kind of depends on the call. I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie, so I'm not thinking of the fear at the time. I'm just thinking about what I need to do to keep myself safe and to keep whoever I'm going to try to help safe. So I think I pretty much think about that more so after the fact when I'm kind of decompressing the situation.
That's a good question. All right. Let's see. In another classroom, we have the question, do you ever collaborate with Oklahoma Highway Patrol?
Highway Patrol does do a lot of stuff with us. They work all the football games with us. We do special things if we're having to do anything with the governor. The governor's detail is comprised of troopers. So yeah, we work with those guys a lot.
Okay. Classrooms, if you guys have any other questions, keep them coming. We've had some really good ones so far. I will ask you, so how much of your job do you follow like department procedures, and how much of it do you feel like is more on your feet kind of thinking in the moment of something going on?
Well, we always have to be cognizant of procedures because that can get you in a lot of trouble if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we train so much, because we know what to do. We do have to think on our feet. But generally, we don't have any policies that we would end up breaking to affect our job. So we're always versed, and we're always doing policy training, so we know what's going on. So,
okay, awesome. We've got another question from, they would like to know, what do you need to study for this career? And I would probably follow up with, if they're interested in law enforcement, what would you recommend that they're taking and looking at in high school to kind of prepare for going into workforce?
Any type of sociology or psychology classes that you can take. Um, College, definitely criminology, anything that have to do with the law, basically, whether or not it's law school or legal classes or uh, criminal justice. Those are type of education things that you'd probably want to look into. Um, Physically, you always want to keep yourself physically fit because it is a physically demanding job, and we do have fitness tests that you have to pass as well.
Awesome. You guys have any other questions for Lieutenant Sanders? Send them in now. I guess I'll ask one other question too while we're waiting for a couple other responses from our classrooms. You showed us the phones and the things that you use within the vehicle when you guys are out at a situation. Is there any other like special technology unique to your department or your area?
There is another phone that we have. I didn't put that on the slide. It's a video phone. And the console is pretty much the same as the one that I showed you. The only other thing is that we have a video screen, and there's also a phone that's attached to that we'll deploy to in certain cases. Most times we don't use it because it's a delicate piece of equipment that breaks easily, and we don't have time to deploy everything. And so the phone is the main thing that we need. But the video, we would use that in a hostage situation because on the phone itself that is sent into the suspect, there are 8 cameras on it that are hidden that he doesn't know about. And so we're able to see what's going on in the room or the building that the suspect then is in, and we're able to make sure that the hostages are okay and that he's not hurting anybody.
That's interesting. Let's see. What made you want to be an officer?
I've always kind of been a right fighter. I kind of, looked out for kids that were getting picked on. That kind of always bugged me to see somebody being mean to someone else for no reason or for something they couldn't help. And so I think that it's just always kind of been in me to do this. I don't think there's any other job that I could have done.
That's awesome. Okay. Wants to know again, this question, where do you see yourself in 10 years with your career?
10 years. Right now, kind of old now as it is. Right now, I am a lieutenant. I don't have any aspirations to be a chief anywhere. I have a big need to kind of stick by my officers and help them out as best I can. So I think the next step for me would probably be a captain promotion to be over all of patrol and kind of help those guys out and making sure that they're getting the things that they need.
That's awesome. What could you say kind of the average time is of when you're responding to a situation with your team? How much do they vary? Are you there for a long time? What would you say?
Well, it depends. A lot of times we have advance notice, like on restaurants, we have advance notice, and we will come together and we'll make a plan in our briefing as to what we're going to do. If it's an emergency call where there's suspect hostages, then it'll take us probably about a good 30 minutes for everybody to get to where we need to get to. We all convene to the same place in Norman, and we'll sit down with the knuckle draggers and with the medics and everybody, and we will devise a plan of what we need to do during our approach where everybody is. And so we always have a briefing before we go out to do anything. So I would say probably 45 minutes to an hour, depending upon the situation. There has been times where we haven't done a briefing and we've just responded to certain things. We had a person one time who was, I think, in a vehicle. She had an assault rifle threatening suicide, and I responded from my house because she was that situation was a lot closer to me than anybody else. And so we have done that before, where everybody respond in their own vehicles and get together there and do the briefing there.
That's really interesting. I don't know that I would be able to be suited for the job that you're in. So we're glad that you are helping everybody out and looking over your officers and protecting everybody. So we've got 2 more questions and then we'll wrap it up. From they'd like to know, what is the best or most interesting part of your job?
I think the best thing about my job is being able to help people, knowing that I made a difference in our community. So I really take pride in that.
That's awesome. And then we've got one last question from, what is the most interesting thing that you have learned about your career while serving?
I think the most important thing that I've learned is to be open to a lot of different things and be open to a lot of people's experiences, especially here at the university. A lot of people come from different parts of the world and they have different experiences with law enforcement, and a lot of it's not really good. And so I have to be cognizant of that when I'm responding to them, and to really remember where somebody may have come from and experiences they may have had when dealing with them, because I don't want to give them a bad experience that they've have previously had before.